And it's about that new prohibition in Afghanistan against higher education for women that we want to begin our conversation with. ABC News' Patrick Reevell, live from our London bureau for our World View. So, Patrick, the Taliban had promised to respect women's rights when they swept back into power in August of last year. This is really cruel deja vu that we're seeing the horrors of their previous rules surface once again. What does this ban mean, and what's the reaction we are seeing in Afghanistan?
Hi, Alexis. Yeah, I mean, as you were saying, as Ian was saying, the Taliban had promised that this wouldn't happen, that they would treat women and girls differently. But now we're seeing, of course, that they've been banned from university campuses. They're not even allowed to set foot on the campuses. I mean, and the reaction, I think, firstly, there's agony for women who spent years fighting to try and get their education. And we are seeing a small number of protests, small protests on the street in Kabul, but they're being shut down very quickly. There's a protest by women. We're also seeing some videos emerging of apparently male professors and students walking out. But obviously the Taliban has such control and is also willing to use such brutal tactics, including torture, kidnapping, summary execution, that it's extremely dangerous to protest. And so I think there's really very little hope that these protests can try and reverse this decision. And we know that there was some debate within the Taliban over these issues, but it seems that increasingly the hardliners just have really the full control in the country.
It's heartbreaking to see what's going on there for young girls and women. I want to turn to other international news, though, Patrick, and that is China seeing a surge in hospitalizations, reports of deaths linked to COVID-19 following the lifting of many of those so-called zero COVID policies. But China is officially still only reporting a tiny number of COVID deaths. So what do we know? What is the latest there?
Yeah, we seem to be seeing really the consequences, the immediate consequences of China relaxing its zero COVID policy. We're seeing reports of increased hospitalizations. We're seeing reports of deaths. We're seeing also signs outside crematoriums and funeral homes, congestion, and reports from these funeral homes that they are basically working 24/7 because of the number of deaths. But China's official toll is still extremely low. We heard that on Monday, officially only 2 people died from COVID, and yesterday only 5. And obviously there's a huge skepticism towards those numbers. No one believes that that is likely in a country of China's size, let alone when we appear to be seeing the beginning of a surge. And the fear really now is that we are starting to see the beginning of a huge surge in COVID cases, something similar to what we went through in Europe and in the US at the start of this year. And so the fear is that that's going to happen in China now. Some models show that there could be as many as 1 million deaths next year in China if there is to be as bad a surge as could happen here.
My gosh, that is tragic news. Look, I want to really change it up here for a minute, Patrick, and talk about the World Cup, because I want our viewers to check out these images from the Argentinian capital of Buenos Aires, celebrating the return of their World Cup champions. And I'm hearing that the players actually had to be airlifted out of the crowd. What do we know about this?
Yeah, just amazing scenes from the capital of Argentina, Buenos Aires. As we understand it, local media are saying there were 4 million people on the streets who came out to meet the World Cup winning team, and they were on an open-top bus, and they were supposed to try and reach the center of Buenos Aires, but after several hours they eventually had to be airlifted out, had to be taken out by helicopter because the crowds were just so dense and because people were actually mobbing the bus. And, this is the first time since 1986 that Argentina has won the World Cup, and you can clearly see how much it meant to them.
They are a passionate people, I'll give them that. Patrick Reevell, thanks very much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.